What is the state of RV repair?
What's being done to certify more technicians? And is there an opportunity for owners to learn more about their RVs?
This week we speak with Curtis Hemmeler from the RV Technical Institute about opportunity, repairs, and the status of RV service.
Yeah, and I got to go camping this weekend, and I have a campground that's really different.
Also, he got to try a new recipe that, well, there's kind of a twist.
Yeah, almost a double twist. And of course, we have our RV review as well, and it might be better than an Airstream.
Cool. We have this week's podcast along with the notes and all the stories that go along with this episode, as well as deals, discounts, helpful hints, and more at our home on the web at StressLessCamping.com.
Don't forget to like and share, and thank you for joining us on podcast episode 297. I'm Tony.
I'm cold.
Yeah, what happened to the weather?
I was in Southern California where it was over 80 every day last week.
Yeah,
and this 60-degree stuff is not my bag.
Yeah, look who's back. But not only that, but it was, even where I was camping with some friends, it was pretty doggone nice. I mean, it was borderline shorts weather during the day.
Ooh.
And today, it is blowing and cold. So,
well, anyway, we are two RV industry veterans who travel part-time
in a Rockwood Mini Lite 2506 FK.
Looking to share big adventures and help you with great tips,
tricks,
and discounts.
Indeed. We have been telling you about our Fun and Friendly's Facebook group, and I know there are a lot of people who are kind of deciding, do I want to stay on Facebook for a variety of reasons?
Sure.
I can just say our group has really been exceptionally fun and friendly. I mean, legitimately, and very helpful this week. A few people have posed questions, and there weren't the snarkiness or the nastiness and they just got answers, which is pretty cool.
Unfortunately, they got correct answers because that's not always going to be true everywhere you look.
Yeah, that's true. We heard some RV industry experts speaking, and I was listening. I'm like, no, that's
not
wrong.
Correct.
So we really, really work hard to have legitimate, vetted answers when we have questions, whether that's on our home on the web or at our Facebook group, wherever it is. I mean, of course, we're not perfect. We don't know everything, which is also one of the reasons why we ask people who know more than we do.
Yeah, so this week we asked somebody who knows more than we do, and that is Curtis Hemmeler from RV Technical Institute and also RV Industry Association.
Yeah, he's the senior vice president of the RVIA. And so without any further ado...
Well, one more ado.
Oh.
It was really early in the morning for me. Curtis is on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I was in California. So I actually joined in a video call conference. So my sound isn't the best because I was trying to whisper so I didn't wake up my sister.
Whisper sister.
Whisper sister. And so that's all the ado. Let's move on to Kurt.
All right. We have the privilege of welcoming back Curtis Hemmeler, who's the executive director of the RV Technical Institute and also senior vice president of the RV Industry Association, or RVIA. Curtis, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks
Glad
for
to be
joining
back.
us again after 5 years and 1 week.
Yeah.
And we all look so young. I mean, it's great.
Indeed. Tell us, I guess, first, who is the RV Technical Institute?
Sure. Well, obviously, thank you to you both for having me back. And I'm really excited because we just celebrated our 5th anniversary. But the RV Technical Institute was 5 years ago the brainchild of the RV Industry Association, the RV Dealer Association, the whole industry, if you may, coming together to say we need to produce an institute that will help train and certify technicians across the country, both dealer and mobile, because the trend of RV sales and RV service was continuing to go up. The problem to solve was to help reduce repair event cycle times, or the time that it takes when you drop an RV off and the time that you get it repaired, which has always been a pain point. But that was the idea behind it. So $10 million was used, grant money, to help stand up RVTI. I have both the education of RVTI is my responsibility, but also the standards program. So our self-regulatory is also
Interesting.
under my toolage. Our membership is the manufacturers and the suppliers that build them, and we self-regulate by following NHTSA and the national electrical codes and all that. But we do 6 inspections a year unannounced to every facility. So we'll do 24 to 2,700 inspections with a team of 8 every year.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I've been pushing. As you know, I'm new to this industry. I think I can claim that till I'm 20 years, because everybody here, 20 years seems to be the starting point for a lot of people. So, but it's one of those things that it goes back to when they were interviewing me, and I was a very naive, non-RVer. I would say I was your perfect candidate to do it, because I was 50 years old and kind of old white guy, and I was asked a question. I laugh about this. I was asked a question by the leadership of Forest River and Grand Design. Don Clark and Doug Gatter looked at me and said, well, tell me the 3 biggest manufacturers. And I innocently and just said, Airstream, Winnebago, and Jayco. No, that's what I got. No. I'm like, okay, I guess I answered that wrong. And they're like, yes. And I said, okay. And so I'm thinking, I got to think quick on my feet. All right, well, obviously I answered that wrong, and I apologize. But here's what I would be thinking about, Mr. CEOs, is that I am your customer. And if that's who I think are the biggest, I'd be more concerned about that than whether I just got that answer right in an interview. Because I'll
Good.
and they're like, well, good point, but you still got it wrong. And so we laugh about that to this day, because both of those gentlemen are on my board, and obviously I can answer that with a little more confidence now, the right answer. But yeah, very few people know, and it's kind of, I'm on this quest to educate the consumer better, and obviously the certification and what we've stood up here is part of that. It's about creating a certification program, professionalizing it, standardizing it, so the consumer can have a better experience, because we just have not delivered it to them over the years in the service side of things.
And it's amazing how far it has come, and I see some big changes. I'm going to call out Bish's RV with their Bish Fix, and they have that call-in program where you can call in and say, hey, my RV is doing this. And sometimes it's just an owner didn't catch something in the PDI, which is understandable. It's such a long process. But then sometimes they can diagnose it and order parts, and that way you don't have to have your RV. So it changes the repair event cycle time.
Sure. True. And that was one, when I first came here and I was introduced to the KPI of repair event cycle time, which is become a verbiage used within the industry quite a bit. It was about improving that consumer experience by reducing that time. And we were on good strides. The pandemic hit, we dropped back a little bit, but we're kind of back on it now, just because of the raw numbers that were produced at that time. But I look at that as a big old elephant that we're going to eat one piece at a time and in different ways. And one of them is obviously having a better trained technician staff out there, both dealer and mobile. That's one big part. Getting parts more accessible and quicker. That's another. But then it's also educating the consumer to be able to do some of their own repairs by educating them, giving them an opportunity to educate and doing repairs safely. First and foremost, that there's some repairs they can do safely, but that will reduce that backlog that we've experienced, and which will in turn help to reduce RECT, as we call it. But yeah, it's decades of not doing the things right, and now doing some of the things right. And everybody, Bish's is one example. They're an authorized learning partner with us, and they do a tremendous job of educating their teams and putting, it's not cheap, right? I mean, it's an investment in your people, and they are doing it. So they're one good example of a group that's doing it.
Yep.
They hired me, right or wrong, but here I am, and I'm still here. So I guess I did something right. But we're 5 years down the road, and we got 21,000 people that have interacted with us in these 5 years. So it was produced to produce the idea to train, certify, and recruit people into the RV industry for the benefit of the consumer to have a better experience, to continue to have. And obviously, we're not perfect by any means. We will never be perfect, but we're going to strive every day. And I think we've made some great improvements. But that was the idea behind it. Professionalize the curriculum. We didn't have that. It hadn't been updated in almost a decade. So we updated. We brought the curriculum up to date. We created the RV Career Path, which created a sustainable career for folks that want to come into the industry. And we built here in Elkhart, Indiana. We have a physical facility here because it only makes sense to build it here where all the action is.
And a lot of the curriculum comes from the manufacturers who develop these components, right? And then create a way to educate techs on.
Yeah. And this is why I was excited, and thank you for having me on your show, because as I shared with you before we even got started, is that a lot of folks don't realize that, I wear the hat of the executive director of the RV Institute. They brought me in to build this school. That's what my professional life has been, is building career technical schools. So happy to do that. But about 3 or 4 years ago, I actually took over the responsibility of the standards department here at RVIA as well, which is our self-regulatory system for our manufacturers. We are a self-regulated industry. We follow NHTSA, National Electrical Code, and we have 8 inspectors that go out 6 times a year to every facility to basically inspect them to make sure they're building RVs safely. And that's an important way. We build them to make sure they're safely built. And so when you look at the curriculum actually comes from that. But standards and things of that nature aren't really consumable curriculum. So you had to kind of put it into a curriculum format. But that's where our curriculum comes from. These are all the experts that go into building, goes into our curriculum, and then our curriculum is then produced for the technicians. So the whole reason of taking over both of these entities, for my part, was they're both education. They go hand in hand. And to enhance and build this even better as we go, it was important that the two worlds come together for cohesiveness, and that we would be the gold standard of what training needs to be in the industry. And so that's what we built the curriculum off of. $2 million investment into curriculum. We had a group called Nocti Business Solutions, a third party, along with Ohio State University, that helped us create the program. So it is a true certified program that is well received and accredited, and it's the only program in the country that does that.
This is primarily for people who want to become technicians. Let's say you work at a dealership, or you want to work at a dealership, or my favorite use case, somebody wants to become they are just like, what do I want to do for a living? And they have maybe some skills with a screwdriver, and they're like, I could become an RV tech. And I don't think people are aware of how good a job that can be, because your job is making people happy, right? Hey, my water heater doesn't work. Can you come fix it? You fix it, and now they can take showers and they're all happy. So, and I know some of these independent techs, mobile techs, are making a really solid living.
Oh, yes. A lot to answer in that question, because, and I apologize, because it's true. And let me start with the fact that what RVTI trains is technicians. At the end of the day, it's technicians. That's what our sole purpose is. But that can be broadly expanded to include mobile techs, dealer techs. But it also, over the years here, we've, consumers, a lot of consumers, we're a nonprofit too. So we are set up as a 501c3, which means we can accept donations, folks that contribute, which is really beneficial. And we are also subsidized a lot by the industry. We actually operate at a $2 million loss every year, but that's picked up by the industry because they stand behind the need for these technicians to make sure we can run a quality program, and that we don't want price point to be an obstacle for people. So our program at $630, and we can get to that, is open to the public as well. And to your point, even if you don't know the difference of a screwdriver, our program is built and designed to take folks from knowing the difference between a Phillips head and a flathead to being able to repair, multi-million-dollar or multi-$100,000 RVs. But it's an extremely sustainable career, and it's an extremely in demand because a lot of folks, when they think of an RV technician, once again, whether a dealer or mobile, I'm just going to say, just for purposes, technicians, because we train them all, is that they think of auto world immediately. Well, they're like the auto techs. It's actually the trades, because only about 10% of all RVs out there are motorized. So we focus on the house part. But in a house part, you got plumbing, you got electrical, you got appliances, and that's what we teach. So when you take our program, yes, we're training to be a career in the field, a very awarding and sustainable career. But we have a lot of folks that take the level 1, which is a 40-hour class that will teach you everything you need to know about every system in that RV, and that you be able to run it up. And even we teach a little bit about troubleshooting in case you run into an event. Level 2 is 3 more weeks of training and gets more into diagnostics and troubleshooting. But a lot of folks take level 1 and save themselves lots of money in the long run because they can do a lot of repairs safely. We teach you Ohm's law and things of that nature, but some people use it to go become inspectors. They'll do the inspection route as either a full-time or side hustle, as I say. I can keep going, but part of the strategy behind RVTI is we will be launching our first high school in Colorado that the curriculum is actually, our program is in the state training so that kids will come out already certified in our industry. And this is our first pilot. We're going to make sure we get it right. It's a combination of using all of our resources in the industry, so manufacturers and dealer are getting involved. We provide the equipment to this high school. They teach the program, and the kids come out already certified, ready to work. My recommendation is go work for a dealership to start with if you're green in this, and then as you get your confidence and maybe some more additional training on starting your own business, go out and be a mobile tech if that's what is more desirable. But that's the long marathon play that I've got going on here, and we're doing the same thing on the post-secondary. And I would love to expand on that maybe a little bit later on things, but this, not all that education is happening here in Elkhart. It's actually happening everywhere else.
That's great.
That was a goal last time when we talked, and it's neat to see that it is expanding out. Although, as an RVer, I really do enjoy coming to Elkhart, not just because of Rise and Roll either.
Right. Or the chubby trout, or
oh yeah.
There's
also, when we spoke before, your goal was to have 2,000 techs, and now you said you've had 21,000 people come through that program.
I'll clarify that exactly. So we have recruited almost 3,000 people from outside the industry in these 5 years. So 3,000 have come completely organic from outside in different formats. We have certified over 7,000. So when we first took over, there was only about 2,200 certified technicians out there. There's now over 7,000, and we're growing at a rate of about 21 to 23% a year as the program becomes more known. And obviously, we're at a point now where, where I envision this eventually being is there's two forms of recruitment. There is the immediate recruitment form, and then there's the long play. And the long play is the high school rollouts and the colleges, whether it be a tech school or a college, like I'll talk about Navarro College here in a second, because you have to take the education to where the consumer is. You can't expect them all to come to Elkhart. Yes, I agree, Tony. They need to come and enjoy the chubby. They need to, enjoy some of the treats here. But it's for some people it's just not possible. So there's a lot of current people that might be switching careers, or somebody that's wanting, the trades are hot right now, and if I may, I'll use the word, they're sexier than they've ever been. And unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember I had industrial arts in high school. Well, they took that all out, and some of it's now coming back. But I'm actually using our education that's my pitch when I go to high schools. It's like, look, I've got a program that level 1 that you can teach in 40 hours to your juniors and seniors, and they're going to get exposed to electrical, they're going to get exposed to plumbing, they're going to get exposed to all the trades. And so I'm not asking that all these folks come into the RV world, but I know we need electricians, I know we need plumbers, and they might find kids that have not been exposed, they didn't grow up wrenching, which is the majority now, will choose a path of that nature. And they're like, oh my gosh, you have a program like that? Yeah, and if 10 come in and one becomes an RV, I'll take that all day long. That's 27,000 RVers, new technicians, in a year. So that's the long-term play with getting this into high school, and at the same time, working with people that want a career change, or maybe their spouse is retired and they want to go full-time RVing and they want a side hustle of some type. Because you all know, you pull in any campground, everyone knows that, hey, go over and see Tammy or Johnny over here. They know what they're doing. And what we're trying to do is take some of the bad characters out that, as you all know, you don't need any certification to be an RV, to at least claim yourself to be a mobile technician.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of good. I don't want to mix the good with the bad, but there's also a lot of bad. And we just want to, especially as the new electrification things come out. I mean, in the old days, some of this stuff, you might get a shock, you might, don't stick your hand on the burner again type thing. But some of the stuff come out now can do a lot worse. And I don't want on my conscience somebody not coming home that night because they weren't trained or certified. And certification just tells you that this person at one time knew the content, and they had to take a test, and we validated they do know the content and how to do it safely. So.
And you can also go on the RV Technical Institute's website and find these certified technicians.
You can. We just added a map, and that's it. That is a everyday build, if you may. As you can imagine, as more folks are coming on, as we're stepping into, we want folks to be able to go and hopefully find. And there's some other platforms out there, and that. But strategically, one of the things we want to do is I'm going to be doing a lot of these podcasts and getting the word out to the consumer that, we aren't the auto world. Don't assume that everybody's an ASE certified tech. Look for the gold and black seal, a little gear thing, and it'll say RVTI certified. And that person can perform all the measures safely and correctly. We're trying just to make it more professionalized, make the industry more professionalized so the consumer can have a better experience.
Well, something that we often tell people is, as you're doing your shopping for your next RV, because as soon as you buy one, then you're like, oh, look, a shinier object at the next campsite, whatever it is. Picking the right dealer is a big factor in that. And that's one of the ways you can discern a better dealer from somebody who might be not quite as professional. Is like at the dealership I worked at, we had those certifications up on the wall.
Yep.
So you could see them.
We actually send out every year a window decal. If you have employed RVT certified techs at your facility, you can exhibit that seal. You can put that out there. And now, don't be misunderstood. Doesn't mean all of their technicians may be certified, but they do have some RVTI certified. And our goal is to obviously get them all certified. But if you don't see that seal, then they probably don't have certified technicians. Our goal is just to professionalize the industry, to help the consumer recognize some of these things and understand some of these things so that they can have a better and more safe experience.
If I remember correctly, there are 3 levels of certification, correct?
Yep. So part of what we created in the curriculum was the career path, and the career path has level 1, 2, 3, and actually 4.
Oh, okay.
So level 1 is what we call the inspection level. That's the one that's 40 hours, and at the completion of that, you will have 2 tests that you have to take and pass. People do fail it. It's not a guarantee. You have to study. You have to take the labs. And that level will give you level 1, which is the inspection. As I said, you can walk into any RV, A, B, C, doesn't matter what type of RV it is, and be able to run up all the systems and validate that they're operating as they should. In the event that they're not, there is some troubleshooting that's given in there, but you're not really ready to be a true technician per se. You can be an inspector, but not not a technician. Level 2 then builds off of 1, but is an additional about 120 hours of instruction, and you get into diagnostics and troubleshooting. At the completion of that, you're going to have a couple more tests, and at the end of completing level 2, you can go out there and you are an RV technician, whether mobile or dealer, doesn't matter. You have the technical knowledge. Level 3 gets into specialties. And so currently there's about 5 specialties out there. There's electrical, electronic, there's slide outs. And in each one of those, there's an additional 20-hour plus of education that a technician can go. And once they complete all 5 of those specialty areas, they're awarded master. Okay, so right now there's no test for master. There is only the completion of 1, 2, and 3 levels. And, for clarity, is we created it that way because we believe everyone needs to go through 1 and 2. So once you're done with 2, you're competent. You can operate safely as a technician, mobile or dealer. Level 3 is specialty. So depending on what somebody might want to get into, they may not be, this is special like the mobile techs per se. They might want to specialize in slide outs because that's where they want to really help. They don't have to necessarily sell themselves, or there's no monetary increase or help to be a master unless they choose to be. So they'll specialize in that, and that's okay, right? My concern is I would want everybody in the industry to be at least a level 2. If that happens, great. Then I know everyone's operating safely. But to give you an idea of numbers, even at as many as we've increased, we're still only about 30% of our industry collectively is certified. To put it in comparison, in the auto world, it runs about 55 to 60%. So we've got some room to grow in that. But yeah, it's a career path, and you can do, as far as getting the education too, you can do everything completely online. You can do everything in person in Elkhart, or you can do a hybrid model where you actually do online and then you have to come to Elkhart for a week and we run you through test after test for 40 hours. Or you can join through working for a dealership and go through that. If they're one of our learning partners, they actually will get, they have the education. It's a learning partner, somebody that is like coming to Elkhart. They have all the tests, they have all the curriculum, and they teach it themselves. So that's another option. It's very accessible, and it's a very sustainable career.
So that's interesting. So there are some dealerships that can actually be their own training resource, essentially.
They are. That was part, 5 years ago when I talked about the hub and spoke model. And you think about a wheel on a bike. We're the hub, obviously. Here we're going to continue to improve the curriculum and deliver the top-notch quality, standard, professionalized curriculum. But the bulk of the training is going to happen at the spokes, at the ends. And right now we have a very successful program down in Texas that we've been working with for 4 years. It's a women's light. I forget how they exactly describe it. It's actually a school system in the penal system for women. You can't have any offense that puts you in jail for longer than 2 years. So, there's no killing of husbands or anything out there, but maybe they did a bad check or something here and there. I don't know. But we've graduated over 100 certified folks out of level 1 down there, very successful. And they went on and worked for dealerships or became mobile techs. So that's a learning part. That's one example. We have all the big dealership groups are learning partners because it's more advantageous to them to actually let us give them the curriculum and they teach it at their facilities and how they want to teach it. Because we really don't dictate. They can enhance, they can add things to it, but it's locked down so that at the end of the day, only we have the test, RVTI that is, and the ability to change the curriculum. So that's the part of professionalize and standardize, and anybody that's in education understands that you got to have that base so that we know that you're taught correctly. And then, of course, you can add things to it, but you just can't take from it. But the learning partners are doing about 77% of all the training right now.
But I mean, if you look at it like this, you're the average RVer, like me, and you could do a good portion of learning these systems online, then spend a week in Elkhart
Mhm.
And now you really know your own RV. And then you might even say, you know what? I'm traveling all the time. I'm going to get a magnetic sign, put it on my truck. And now when you go to an RV, to a campground, all of a sudden you're the most popular person in the campground.
Yes.
Tony, you just did my sales pitch. I've told a lot of people that want a side hustle, or I can't tell you how many folks when we're at a consumer show of any type, and they come up and they're like, oh, we love RVing and I wish we could do it more. My wife is retiring next year. Or sometimes, a lot of times, it might be the husband's retiring, and it's interesting because a lot of women, we'll talk about women technicians, they'll be like, I really want to do this full time with them. I want to be with them, but I'm still working. And I start talking to them about the idea of becoming certified and doing just what you said. Get yourself a little sign, hang it outside. And don't yell at me because the line forms. Get one of those
Yeah.
counters. You're number 12 in line. But that's a real thing, and it's happening everywhere at campgrounds. In fact, part of the last year I started focusing on campgrounds because one of the things when I came in here, campgrounds are perfect locations to actually be training institutes also. So I'm working with a couple campgrounds that will become RVTI partners, and folks, in the off season or someplace where they want some extra revenue or value add to their customers, they can do some trainings to help that RVer to, once again, remember, our mission is to make the experience better for the consumer. That's our mission. And so it's having all this out and going on and getting folks trained is a small part of making that experience better.
Have you trained like campground staff members through this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you go to a campground and your whatever isn't working properly, and all of a sudden the campground, I don't know, the front desk person can come over and diagnose and possibly, what a brilliant, I mean, if you're a campground, especially a larger one, and you advertise, I have 1 or 2 certified RVTI techs.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone will fill up the place.
Yeah. And as you know, I'm not from this industry. I can't. My professional life's been military and building schools, and so when I came in here, to me that was like what I figured this was happening, and it was really a surprise to me. I started focusing on it a couple years ago, and began working. In the RV industry. My boss, Craig Kirby, and the president is big in industry unity and bringing campgrounds into the fold as part of that, because obviously we can build them all day long, but if no one has a place to take them, and there was a disconnect there, and I'm happy to say that relationship is really under his tutelage has really done a great job of building that up, and part of that is the service piece. We know that's a pain point, and so it only made sense to me, like you just mentioned. Well, shouldn't you have, whether you have somebody on staff, instead of having that yellow sticky note that says "Call Scott," and we don't know anything about Scott, put someone over there that says, "Hey, call Scott. He's RVTI certified." If I was a campground owner, I'd be like a sense of relaxing a little bit, that I've got somebody that knows what they're doing on my campground from a liability standpoint. We work very closely with the state associations that their members are the campground owners of that state. So Florida, Texas, a lot of the big states that we work with. And so we've been holding one-day trainings at their conferences with their members. And basically, they told us the top 20 things to basically get an RVer off my campground so they can get moving on. And it's been very well received. We've done a number of these now, and we're going to continue to do them. But yeah, it's to help that campground, once again, make the consumer experience better.
I wonder how many campground reservations, let's say somebody plans to stay 5 days. They get there and now the slide room won't go out or the awning won't, whatever the issue is. And now that camping or the customer is going to leave. So you lose that reservation.
Exactly.
One good 5-day reservation at some of these places, and that's the whole cost of the training program.
Yeah, exactly. The $630 investment, and I just want to say, if anybody wants to take the program, it's literally $630. That is a real number, and you get both level 1 and level 2 for that. As I said, you can do it online, you can do it in person, but whether you pay a mobile tech or you take it to a dealer, or you're at a campground, your slide out won't go out. That 630, I promise you, will pay itself back tenfold over the lifetime. So, and some people that want to be handy, or I'm a married man. In fact, I'll celebrate 25 years here in the next week, and I will tell you. Sometimes you don't want to look bad in front of your spouse because you think and you want to. Now you can really know. But going back to the woman thing that I was talking about, it's amazing when I talk to women and say, actually, don't tell your guy friends or your husband that women are better at this than the men are. And the auto industry figured this out because women are more conscientious. Women pay more attention to detail. They'll actually read the directions, things like that. That's all real stuff. But we've held quite a few women-only classes through our partner at the RVW Women's Alliance group. And we've conducted these trainings. And they have, as a cohort, performed better on testing than, I think 3 of the women's classes hold the top 3 slots for the best average score on testing.
Wow.
So, this is, you hear a lot of time that women don't get paid the same and that kind of thing. This industry is an equalizer. I would almost challenge it to a good, hard-working lady can do very, very well in this industry. It's just, unfortunately, we've stereotyped a lot to say that women can't or whatever. And, if you find one that has the confidence and we can build that confidence, they will outperform a male typically.
Huh. Interesting.
My wife told me to make sure to put this into this podcast.
Well, I don't want to give away the whole guy's code, but one of the aspects of it is don't read the instructions.
Exactly. I threw that in there.
Come on.
So, that extra bolt's just as a paperweight, it's
right.
but in all seriousness, that, it is truly a very rewarding career, that when you think about the numbers, a lot of times I've learned when I go out and we will have talked to over 1 million school counselors. At our 5-year mark, we had already talked to over 1 million school counselors about this as an alternative career path to a traditional route of education. And I always have to kind of explain how, it is truly a sustainable lifelong career if they choose to. And unlike the auto world or the diesel world, somebody that goes into that, they're going to do the same repetitive things a lot of times in a day in the life of an auto or diesel tech. An RV tech, and this is one of the things I think most say, today it's an air conditioner, tomorrow it's a sink, the next day it's a propane system, and then it's a chassis, the spice of life, if you may. But if you like, getting in and fixing things, the rewards of seeing your work, and you can live anywhere in the country. You can live in the north in the winter, and you can live in the south in the summer, and you can go to campground to campground. We have a lot of folks that do that. So it's more just getting the word out. People don't realize it's out there. They just don't realize.
Well, that's what we hope to share is,
Yes.
It's, you look at it and you're right. It's a lot of variety in what you do. Your job is to make people happy and make their vacations and their adventures better. And it's not, you don't get paid badly, especially as a mobile tech. You can subsidize all of your adventures as a mobile tech. And my one word of caution, if somebody's going to be a mobile tech, is have your sign on your truck be magnetic, because there's going to be times where you don't want that sign on the truck.
That's right. What I tell them all the time. Don't blame me when you got a line out there. But you're exactly right. So, you think, and in very few careers or life work can you really control your day in the life of what you do, and you really can as a mobile tech, where you do it full time, or or even as a side hustle. But you can do that. It's a trade. It's like I tell my grandkids, give yourself options. That's the key to life. Have options. Know how to do these things. AI is not going to replace you anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just a great job. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you. I hope next time it won't be 5 years.
Probably not. No, but I will. We'll all look very much even better in another 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure we will. Yeah.
No, I'd be honored to be on multiple times, and of course to your listeners and all that, you can reach me directly as well, if need be, if you want more information about some of the stuff we talked about today.
Yeah, how would somebody find out more and reach the RV Technical Institute?
Sure. So the website is rvti.org, rvti.org. You can either contact us through there's an info email box you can pose your question on. You can actually go right in there and read about what the different levels. I talked about how you can sign up for classes if that's what you're interested in. You can find where certified techs are. If you're interested in working for a dealership, you can go there. If you're interested in getting the program in your local high school, your tech school, or into a college, you can reach out to me personally. Or I have a gentleman on the team named Justin, him and his team actually, once I do the initial, take over from there. But yeah, we're small, we're big, but we're not that big. We're a little 18,000 square foot, 10 person team here in Elkhart. But just feel free to reach out directly to me.
Well, that's fantastic. Curtis, thank you so much for coming back and joining us. And next time we're in Indiana, we'll actually stop by.
Dinner's on me.
All right. Be careful what you ask for.
I'll never turn down a good dinner at the Chubby Trout. You have to go to
man.
the Chubby Trout.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
So while I was in California, Tony got to go camping with our friends, and
Yeah.
I did have a wonderful, beautiful, excellent time, but so did you, right?
Yeah, I did. I got to go with, remember last week's co-host, Michael, and his wife, Mickey. And also we've had Bryan and Patrick on the podcast as well in the past. And they went. And we all went to this place called City of Rocks.
That's a state park, right, in New Mexico?
Yeah, it's a state park, City of Rocks State Park. And they have a few water and electric sites, but nonsense on that. We all have such awesome solar and lithium systems that we went just completely off the grid. And City of Rocks is this volcanic wonder where there's all these giant rock formations, and the campsites are literally kind of nestled in and among these rock formations, and they have really nice picnic tables and trash cans, and it's really clean. But bring all your levelers with you because it's a natural place. It's not a developed campground per se, although there are some enormous campsites. I mean, there are some where 2 or 3 big rigs could fit, but there are also some, I saw Class C just kind of wedged in the rocks in a good way. They weren't like touching the rocks. So if you do choose to go to City of Rocks, look at the specific spots that are available. One of the reasons to go here is it is a dark sky campground, and they actually have once a month some astronomers bring telescopes, and they have this whole night sky presentation, and all the campsites are named after stellar constellations. So it was a stellar experience. And I will share with you we have a GoPro like everybody else practically, and it has this night mode, and I'm like, I'm going to try that. So I'll share that very short video with you. Mickey and Michael were there the day before the rest of us showed up, and they said that the night sky was just incredible. And then it got a little cloudy because the clouds wanted in on the action too. They wanted to see. But we also went to nearby Silver City, and we had this coffee and cake at a little local coffee shop. What a little treasure that was.
Is it like an old mining town?
Yeah, Silver City is an old mine, but there's an enormous open pit mine there.
Well, I can't wait to read all about it.
Oh, yeah. So I did write a review of the campground and the places we went at our home on the web at StressLessCamping.com. And here's a QR code for you watching of that review and story.
So something else that you got to have that I didn't was Bryan's French onion soup meatloaf.
Yeah, it was outstanding. But here's the nifty thing that Bryan did. He plugged in his Instapot and basically cooked the meatloaf the whole time he was driving to City of Rocks.
Yeah.
So we were caravanning down there. I had no idea I was basically chasing
Following
meatloaf down the highway. But
Following Meatloaf.
I was following a Meatloaf down the highway. It happened to be wrapped up in a fifth wheel, but
Well, hey.
but there you go.
Whatever.
And it was so good.
So Bryan did share the recipe with me. I think we've had a version of this meatloaf, but he said this was like the one to write down. So I will be catching up from my California adventure and getting that meatloaf recipe on the web page before Thursday. And I also hope to also get you a geology story about the City of Rocks area.
It's pretty spectacular, that place.
Again, I'm still playing catch up, but I shall do my best.
And we didn't have to put ketchup on the meatloaf. It was that
right.
good. It's funny because he opened the Instapot and it looked like French onion soup.
I was going to say, you mentioned a double twist. Is that the other twist? You thought you were having soup?
Like looked at like soup. Oh, he told us what we were having. But then also the fact that he cooked it in the rig. And I will say, having a good solar and lithium system at City of Rocks, it is this beautiful off-grid campground. There are 10 water and electric sites, but as I said, we chose to camp off the grid. And just the peace and tranquility of being there was just really exceptional. And the fact that you can use these, everyone says, oh, I want to camp off the grid, but there's so many more reasons to have a great solar and lithium system. And as you know, ours came from ABC Upfitters. This was such a good example of why I love this system.
A couple weeks ago, Bill said, because I like to use the microwave at a rest area to warm up my lunch. But I mean, come on, who doesn't want to show up to camp with a fully cooked meatloaf in a crock pot?
Yeah, there's so many other reasons other than just, I want to camp. Like our refrigerator is running. So I took the camper this past weekend. And by the time you join us here on the podcast,
we'll be halfway to Georgia.
We will be halfway to Georgia for the FMCA or FRVA convention. We just leave the refrigerator running with food in it. Don't worry about it. The system just worked perfectly the whole weekend. It's a no-worries system that ABC Upfitters will tailor to whatever your requirements are. So do you want, as some friends of ours have, this just nutso huge system? They can build that.
Yeah.
Do you want something just, I go camping on the weekend, I want the refrigerator to run. They can build that. So whatever your custom system is, ABC Upfitters works with you to learn what your requirements are and what will serve you best, and builds a system with that in mind. But also, as we've said, several people that we know who have their systems have since gone back and said, this system's so good, but I want to camp more. Mm-hmm. Can you add more to it? Yes. So they're flexible, powerful, reliable systems, and you can get yours or just learn more by visiting the link that we have to ABC Upfitters on our website, or calling on the old telefono 574-333-3225.
And for my sister who missed this part last week, I'll repeat that number, 574-333-3225.
Mm-hmm. Well, another gadget, speaking of solar and lithium, that I had with me, the ABC Upfitter system has an inverter. And if you understand how these solar and lithium systems work, the inverter does consume a wee bit of energy, but even more so, Starlink, which we have, consumes a decent amount of energy.
A little more than a wee bit of energy.
So just, I don't know, I decided at night to shut the inverter off, which is just literally a button push on our system. In order to charge my phone and watch, I use this Lion Energy Prowler, which is a small power bank, basically. And it has two USB-A, USB-C, and another USB port on it. So you can charge like phones and that sort of thing with it. But I also liked, as I said, it was really dark at City of Rocks. So there's a heck of a bright light on this. It's like the whole side of this power bank can be a light. And the power bank, if you're listening, I think they're 3 pounds. It's a small, it'll fit in a pocket because
pretty-
that's where I
yeah.
carried it around.
It's like a big phone.
Yeah, it
It's
really
like
is.
your phone in one of those really hardy otter boxes.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. So there are 2 flashlights on it. One is just a little single LED, and one is like the whole side is a flashlight. And then it's 20,000 milliamp hours. So I think it'll charge a phone 5-6 times. Of course, it depends on how big a phone.
And you can plug those into the USB ports, or it's that flat.
Right. So it also has an induction charger on it. So if you want to just drop your phone, you turn it on and drop your phone on it and it charges it that way.
Set, not drop.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, set probably. And then you can recharge it. We bought these Lion Prowlers in quartzite, and they had a deal running where we also got these 10-watt solar panels.
Aren't they cute?
It's a pretty small solar panel.
8 by 14.
Yeah, maybe that sounds right. It will recharge this in a day, so it's not a huge panel. I mean, you can also recharge it in your car or a wall outlet or whatnot. So
with the inverter, during
with
the day.
the inverter during the day when you have a boat ton of sun. So anyway, we have a deal now on Lion Energy's portable power stations.
Okay.
And so if you're looking, I've been very pleased with what they have to offer. The quality is there. Their prices are really fair. They also have a refurbished where people buy them and maybe don't understand them and send them back and they have these right now. And of course, there's always depends on what people send back, but they have these Prowlers. I saw them for $39 on their website.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I think it's $59 normally. I'm pleased with this little portable power bank.
Great.
We have 2 of them.
Yes, one for each of us.
Yeah.
I should have taken one in the car, though. That was a long trip without... I thought, it's no problem. My sister and I both have iPhones, but we don't have the same kind of iPhone, and I couldn't use her charger.
Oh.
Anyway, so you also have an RV of the week to tell us about? This is like almost the whole Tony show, too.
No, you and I got to go to Indiana and see this one when we went to inTech.
Okay.
You really liked it.
I did, yeah.
It's the inTech OVR Navigate. And inTech builds things very differently. They're a company that builds commercial trailers. And they build these trailers and the whole frame, and then there's a cage on top of that is one basic welded piece of it's all welded aluminum, right? So then they use a really good torsion axle suspension, and the Navigate, the OVR series are kind of edgy, kind of overlanding-y looking trailers. And then you might have already seen their Octa or Terra series, which are really unusual looking. But these are pretty normal looking trailers other than they're very edgy. And inTech trailers do not have slides.
Right.
And so you could argue that this would compare with Airstream, in my opinion. I think it's better made, honestly, and it's definitely more spacious. It's a little bit wider than average. It's really square, and I thought
Unlike an Airstream.
no, it was spacious inside, or spacious feeling, well, even with no slide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The bathroom had plenty of space. The one we saw had twin beds, but you can get it with a queen instead. And the back has like this big L-shaped lounge, which I like. There's 2 things I didn't like about it. I don't like pole mount tables. Just give me a freestanding table already. And because there's no slide, there's really no good place for the TV. But so what? Go outside already.
Yeah. Says the man who never goes outside.
I know. Hey, I was outside at City of Rocks with my Venustus jacket.
That's true. You got to stay outside and stay warm.
And I charged it with this Lion power bank.
There you go.
So there you go.
So last week, when I wasn't here, Tony asked you for his question of the week. What's the quirkiest thing you've seen on your stressless camping adventures? Now, I was hoping I'd see pictures of pet chameleons on leashes or a traveling clown show, or I don't know.
Actually, that's what it was at City of Rocks with all of us there. A traveling clown show.
But you weren't wearing red noses and stuff, right?
And poor Mickey had to deal with all our stupid comments.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't there to help Mickey. This week, I was wondering, based on Bryan's cooking on the road, what is your first night in camp meal?
This is good.
Yeah. What do you like? You've been driving all day. What do you eat when you get there at night?
I love that.
That's my question for this week.
Yeah, and again, you can answer that at our Fun and Friendly StressLess Campers Facebook group.
You can also, go on our website and sign up for the once a week newsletter that is absolutely, positively, and completely free.
Yes.
And it will have links to stories and videos and podcasts, whatever we find that will help you get the most of your RV experience.
Yeah, we've been putting a lot of links in that. No, of course, we never sell your information. We never share it. It's once a week, and we try to put as much value in that as we can.
All crammed into one time because we don't have time to write any others.
Yeah.
When you are on the website, you can also find the show notes for all the episodes, but in particular this one, episode number 297, on the podcast page at stresslesscamping.com.
297, we're approaching 300.
Getting on 300.
And by the way, next week we will be in Perry, Georgia.
Next week. Well, yes, we will be in Perry. I don't know if we'll have anything from Perry because we will just have...
No, but I'm saying if you're going to be at the FRVA or FMCA convention, join us.
Yeah.
We have 3 seminars, and we will have our trailer there with our StressLess Camping flag flying. So check us out. Let's have a beer or something.
Yeah. There's also on our website our favorite RV products and services that has our best deals, discounts, things we love, things that you should buy. I mean, things that we've bought that we
yeah.
Things that we think will help you get the best of your stressless camping adventure.
Yeah, and with those deals and discounts, remember, it pays to be stressless camping.
We're also in all the social places, so when you're done getting all the deals and discounts at stresslesscamping.com, you can jump off to all those social places. Yeah,
pretty much if there's a social network, we're there.
It's there.
And of course, if you don't want to miss a future episode of the StressLess Camping Podcast, it is free to subscribe or follow us on any podcast app, including, some of you have found us over on YouTube now.
Yeah, we are saving you a seat around our virtual campfire.
Indeed. And of course, reviews, thumbs ups, shares, all of that really does help spread the word about the StressLess Camping Podcast and really means a lot to us. So
if you haven't had a chance to write a review or share anything, reviews are kind of a one-shot deal on each of those platforms, of course. And then share, you could share every day if you wanted to. Find something new to share and tell your friends.
Yeah. Well, heck, tell anybody, even if you don't like them. Well, with that, we really appreciate your being here for our almost 300th episode. As we count down, hopefully you're having a great time. You've got some great adventures planned for the summer, and most of all,
stressless camping.
We hope you learned a lot and had some fun and got some tips for your next stressless camping adventure. We're honored by your reviews on Apple Podcasts, which helps others find us too. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on the adventure, and we look forward to your joining us next week. Until then, happy camping!